just destroying everything we have. You know what I mean? They just bulldoze our motor. I mean, they bulldoze everything. You know what I mean? Like, you guys left us out here with nothing once again. Once again, now we're being forced to start all the way over with only the clothes on our back. You know what I mean? Because you guys just come in there with bulldozers and dump trucks and just like, oh well, it don't mean nothing. Just take it all. Like, how would they like it if we went and did that to their house? Just one day, just go and bulldoze their house, and then what? Now you're going to be out here with us. Now what?
Before we dive into today's content, I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who's already subscribed to this channel. Your support makes a real difference, helping us share important stories that often go unheard. For the 97% of you who haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Your subscription helps this channel grow and reach more people, all thanks to the YouTube algorithm. This allows us to spread more awareness about what's really going on in the streets of America. And don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment with your thoughts. If there's anything you'd like to see or anywhere I can improve the quality of this video, drop a comment down below. And once again, thank you so much for your support. Now let's go ahead and get started. All right, may I have your age and your name?
I am 45. My name is Kimberly Hudson.
Can you tell me just a little bit about yourself and how'd you get into this situation that you're in right now?
Okay, so, well, I have my son's father. He lived here in the Bay Area for like over 20 years. You know, he's married and had a couple kids. But we had a kid together 27 years ago, you know what I mean, when I was like 17 or whatever. And I was going through some things up north, you know, where I was living at, and I lost my home by fire and stuff by that. PG&E caused wildfires. Lost my house and everything, and I got told I had cancer and all kind of stuff. And then he just messaged me on Facebook and said, why don't you come down here and stay with me? And I was like, okay, why not? What I got to lose? I ain't got nothing up here, you know what I mean? So I came down here with him. And shortly thereafter, his friend that we were staying with had passed away from an aneurysm in her brain. And then we ended up out here on the streets of Oakland, homeless. There's nowhere to go, really. And we ended up at the homeless encampment over there on High Street, where we had been at for 8 years. And just doing different odd jobs, just trying to get by, you know what I mean, trying to make things work. And then now here we are with this situation where they closed down that camp. We move across to West Oakland to another friend of our spot over by Wood Street, and then they were getting kicked out of there now. I don't know, it's just been one thing after another out here. It's been hard.
And what was the work that you were doing?
I was serving eviction notices. I was posting them on people's doors, you know, and we were using public transportation to get to places to go and post these notices on the doors, making like $30 to $50 each time we posted a notice. I mean, it was enough money to get us something to eat and stuff like that, so we didn't have to worry about nothing really. You know what I mean? We got gas for our generator that barely worked, and we were living in a little tiny. First off, we started off in a tent, a little two-man tent, and then we had managed to make a little bit of money and managed to get a little trailer, and we stayed in there in that one for a little while, and then we moved up to an RV, of course, and that got caught on fire, and then we moved up to another RV, and then just one thing after another. I don't know.
I feel like I've been hearing the same stories as of RVs are catching on fires, homes are catching on fires, and people ending up here living on the streets because of it.
Yeah, you know, RVs, once a little bitty fire happens, that thing goes up so fast. There's no way to stop the fire once it starts. You know, it just everything is destroyed in seconds. It seems like, you know what I mean, like it's just gone. And it was like, what do I do now? You know what I mean? Now I'm back to square one. Back to like having absolutely nothing but the clothes I'm wearing. Thankfully, I still have my animals. They lived, you know what I mean? And we still have our lives, you know, and that's all you can hope for at the end of the day. I mean, our little animals are like our kids, you know what I mean? So like, thankfully we have them and they didn't, you know what I mean? Then, but I had my RV over there in West Oakland, and somebody broke into my RV, and somebody shot my dog in the face with a .22, and he survived. And then they hit my other dog in the head with a hatchet, and he survived. But he was like, he couldn't walk for about like 2.5, 3 weeks. He couldn't walk. He couldn't get up off the ground. Like he was like paralyzed almost. And I almost thought I was gonna have to put him down. And he's my service dog, you know what I mean? But he ended up pulling through, and he's doing pretty good, you know what I mean? But he don't like nobody no more now, you know what I mean? Because I mean, then they killed my cat that I had. You know what I mean? I found him over there on High Street one day, and there was like too many mice in my little trailer that I had. So I picked him up and I threw him inside. I was like, I was telling my boyfriend, like, this place is not big enough for me and the mice. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it. You got to figure something out. And so this cat came up by me and started rubbing it on my leg. And so I petted it a couple times, took it, threw it in the trailer, shut the door, then went over to my boyfriend. I was like, this place is not big enough. I don't know what you're going to do, but you got to get rid of the mice. I can't handle it, you know? And I go back in there and the cat has a mouse in his mouth. And I was like, oh, wait, yeah, I'm keeping the cat. I figured it out, don't worry. You know what I mean? And he became my cat after that. And I had him for about 6 years, 7 years. I mean, he was a big, big cat. He was a beautiful cat. He was wonderful. And they killed him and they poisoned him. Whoever broke into my house, yeah, they poisoned him. For what reason, I don't know. They didn't steal anything. They didn't do nothing. Just broke out the window and hurt my animals. I don't understand. I was like, they're targeting us or something, I feel like. At some point, I mean, I don't know.
And when you said your dog got shot in the face, was this somebody that was just walking, or was this somebody that lived in an encampment and that didn't like you?
No, somebody that was living at the encampment. What happened was that I had left the dogs. I had left the 2 dogs that are pit bull chihuahua mix, right? I had left them there at the house. You know what I mean? At our spot, because we had like a fence around our spot, and we had the dogs tied up inside that fenced area. Somebody went into my yard without permission and got attacked and got bit by the dogs. Then somebody else come over there and said, oh, well, give me the dog now, and then went and shot my dog in the face. I'm like, wait a second, my dog was only defending his property, like, you know what I mean? Like, only defending where he stays at. He was inside a fenced yard, tied up inside a fenced yard. How can you justify shooting my dog like that? And the guy apologized or whatever, but still, I mean, I didn't help my dog. I mean, he lived through it, yeah, but it cost me $1,500 in vet bills. You know what I mean? Like, I really had that kind of money. I'm out here on the streets, you know, trying to get by. But I had to come up with it to get my dog back, so I had to go borrow money, you know what I mean? But it worked out. Get over here. I'm walking off.
And so how long has it been since you've had that job where you were giving people their evictions?
Well, they stopped when the COVID started because, there was no evictions no more, you know what I mean? So that's when that job stopped. And then when COVID was over and everything just been kind of crazy since then, you know what I mean? I never even contacted them again. They never contacted me, so it's been trying to look for work other than that, outside of that.
And what have you been doing for work?
I've been looking on Craigslist every day. I've been filling out job applications and stuff like that. But when you've already got a criminal history or whatever, you know, people look at you crazy and they don't want to hire you. They don't even care about what happened or what the situation was or anything. They just look at that one thing and they're like, oh yeah, no, sorry, we can't hire you. And I'm like, well, what my past doesn't dictate who I am today. You know what I mean? Just because I made a mistake when I was 18 years old doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. You know what I mean? It just means I made a mistake. But, you know, it messes up everything, including housing, you know, finding work. You know what I mean? Just interest messes up everything. I wish I would have known that when I was 18. Could have been, my situation could be different. I wouldn't maybe be out here if I knew that.
And how do you feel as of people that haven't actually experienced this type of life where when they see somebody else that are living in the street, automatically they would say they're not trying to find a job.
Or something
yeah,
like
they don't want to try, you know, or they'll tell somebody else that are giving, you know, unhoused people money. They're like, no, don't give them any money. They're not going to try to even get a job. Don't help them if they're not going to help themselves. And that's what I've been hearing lately about these people. And it's crazy to me on how, you know, judgmental they are.
Yeah, but okay, so you see a stray dog on the street that's hungry, you know what I mean? What do? You go and you feed it, you know what I mean? You love it, you care for it, you bring it in, you know what I mean? You help it, right? What's wrong with helping us? Because we're hungry and we ain't got nowhere to go. We're just like that stray dog right there. I mean, we're people too, you know what I mean? We have feelings and stuff. All of us are out here for different reasons. Some of us are out here because we want to be or because of choices we made or just for different reasons. Everybody out here for a different reason, you know? But the situation is like, when you're out here, once you find yourself out here on the streets, you know what I mean? Like, now you're at your rock bottom, you know what I mean? Like, where do you go from here? You know, everything is a chore and a task, you know what I mean? Getting up in the morning, you know, we don't just get to go to the bathroom and go wash our face and brush our teeth and get dressed and take a shower. You know what I mean? It's not that easy. We have to go and gather wood and, make a fire, boil water so we can even go in there and, like, do a little bird bath, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything is, like, comes with such a task that by the time you, like, finish getting ready for your morning, it's already, like, 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something, you know what I mean? Because, like, we ain't got no alarm clocks. We ain't really got phones for people to call us for interviews or anything like that. We don't even have an address to give them. You know what I mean? So it makes everything like that much more difficult once you find yourself out here to get up from out here. And then when you like lose everything by fire or something like that, which wasn't even your fault, you know what I mean? It's just like, now I don't even have no clothes. Now I don't even have no shoes. I left my house without shoes on. I don't got no ID. I don't got no social security card. I mean, like, where do I go from here? You know what I mean? It's like really, really difficult. It's not just because we're lazy. It's just because it's hard. You know what I mean? And then trying to come up with the money for a down payment for like for rent or something like that, you know, first, last, and security or whatever it is. I mean, that's like $5,000. Where am I going to come up with that kind of money when I can't even get a response from anybody for a job? I don't even got to get an address to give them when I don't even have an alarm clock to wake me up. You know what I mean? That makes it really, really hard knowing my puppy. Hey, get over here. Now, come on. Sorry.
No worries.
He's walking too far.
Yeah, too far.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, without that little helping hand, I mean, all it takes is just like, you know, like just that helping hand to get up off the ground, you know what I mean? And we can do stuff. I mean, I used to do all kind of things, you know what I mean? Like I used to model when I was a teenager, you know what I mean? And then here I am out here on the streets, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a lifestyle I ever chose, and it's not a lifestyle I ever wanted, but the reality of the situation and where I ended up, you know what I mean? It's just really hard to get up from here.
And that's just something that others can't pretty much understand, you know, especially if they haven't even lived a life yet or they haven't seen it firsthand, and it's just...
Yeah, well, you know, they can go to the store and buy themselves a gallon of milk and some cereal, you know what I mean, and go home and have cereal and milk in the morning. We can't because our milk spoils overnight because we don't got a refrigerator. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we can't go in and make, you know, like plan meals and stuff like that because it's just... I mean, everything, we ain't got no refrigerator, we ain't got no freezer, we can't go buy meat and put it in the freezer and, you know, cook it next week for dinner or nothing like that. We can't plan meals like that. We have to do day by day by day, which is way more expensive than what anybody thinks it is. You know what I mean? It's like having to buy food every day or having to eat fast food or something like that. You know what I mean? That stuff is expensive. You know, we have to come up with that $20 a plate that we split between the two of us and the dogs. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to make up excuses or anything like that, but it just makes everything difficult, you know what I mean, to get anywhere. And especially when you're not from here, you know what I mean, I've been trying, you know what I mean, these people come around all the time, taking out our numbers, telling us they're going to help us and stuff like that, but then nobody ever does. I've been here now for 8 years and I'm still out here.
And then with you being here for 8 years, have you already applied for housing? If so, how long ago was the last time you applied for housing, and what did they tell you?
The last time, okay, so I applied like 6 years ago, I think it was, and before that I had applied like the year before that, so I keep applying, but then they said that the wait list is full, or the wait list, you know what I mean, we have to be or put on a wait list or whatever, and the wait list is like years long, you know what I mean? It's been on a wait list forever, like 7 years already. Yeah, and still waiting to hear, but I mean, of course I don't have that phone number for them to call anymore because, you know what I mean, somebody stole it, and of course. So I have to contact them and update my information with them with my new phone number. But I mean, who knows? I mean, some people get fast-tracked into housing out here, and it's like amazing, you know what I mean? And I wish I could be one of them, you know what I mean? And I'm just not, you know what I mean? I don't know why. My mom came down here to stay with me because she lost her place in a fire up north too, you know, and another fire cooked like 2 years after mine. So she came down here to stay with me only to find out that she had lung cancer, you know what I mean? And they want her to do treatment, but it's like she's like 65 years old. How is my mom going to do lung cancer treatment, chemo and radiation, living out here on the streets? She's too sick for that. Like she wouldn't survive. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to let you guys kill her. You know what I mean? Like she's already going through enough. You know what I mean? Like all it takes is for her to get a little sniffle out here at nighttime. You know what I mean? Or something like that. And it could be like the end of her life. You know what I mean? And then that's kind of been another burden of mine. I've been like, you know what I mean? But it's my mom, so I love her. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to help her with whatever I can. You know what I mean? And give her whatever I got. But I mean, I'm fighting my own battles too, you know what I mean? So it makes it even harder. I don't know. I've been trying to help her to get into housing too, you know what I mean? She's 65, you think that it's because of her age and because she has a terminal illness that they would help her, right? They still have her out here on the streets. Even though they know that she's sick and that she has problems, you know what I mean? She's still out here on the streets with us. It's crazy.
That is crazy because, you know, in that situation, it should have been, you know, a fast track of let's go ahead and get this person in this house ASAP as soon as possible because of what's going on. Yeah. And for them not to, you know, do anything is mind blowing. Yeah,
you know what I mean? We went to Roots, we went to Backs, we went to all these other places, you know, trying to get help with it, but they're just not hearing us, you know what I mean? They're not. I'm showing them all the paperwork, all the documentation that I have, showing that she has cancer and all this stuff. And I mean, my hopes was to get my mom into a place and become her caregiver, you know what I mean? So that gets me off the streets too, and gives me a job, you know what I mean? So it gives me some sort of income, and you know, start doing something with myself, you know what I mean? It gives me somewhere to start, you know? But it hasn't panned out like that yet. So
And with that, as a in-home caregiver, do you need training for it? Because I've seen plenty of people that have taken care of their own family members.
Yeah. So.
And is this is it a thing that you just apply for and then from there you can get into? Like, how does that work?
I'm not sure how the whole process works. I know some people that require more treatment than others, you know, so some of them have to have an RN, you know, like a registered nurse, like hospice, or somebody come over there to take care of them, change their bandages or do whatever they need, like change their tubing and stuff like that. Stuff that I wouldn't know how to do, but being my mom, you know what I mean? Of course, I've been here with her from day one, so I mean, I would then learn how to take care of her better than anybody else, you know what I mean? Better than a nurse that would come over. I mean, I've already been taking care of her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Helping her with everything, so I mean, I don't need no special training. I mean, I learned on the go with her. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But like for anybody else, I mean, I'd probably have to have some sort of special training, but she's my family, she's my mom, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. I really don't. I was just trying anything, you know what I mean?
But honestly, you know, you had a good point from there where you can take care of your mom and at the same time you can have a job too. From there, support you and support her at the same time.
Yeah, that was my goal.
That would be great, yeah.
That was my goal, you know what I mean? But we still can't get the hand up out of the streets yet, you know what I mean? Which is crazy to me. I mean, I've seen people that are perfectly capable of, like, you know, not know illnesses or nothing like that, get housing way before us. And I'm like, what the heck? I don't know how you guys pick and choose who gets housing and who don't out here, but man, your guys' picker's broke sometimes, I think. Because some people, they put in housing, man, and they're back out here on the streets within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you know what I mean? Because they just don't like it. They'd rather be out here, you know what I mean? And, well, we're not one of them. Hello.
I've came across to a couple of people like that.
Yeah, they just can't stand the confinement, you know what I mean? Or want to, like, they can't stand the rules that they have at their whatever place they're staying at, you know what I mean? Like
over I heard that when you have housing, it's an individual thing.
Yeah.
And so if you are with somebody else, they wouldn't be able to stay with you, I think, unless you guys are married.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. I mean, we've been engaged forever, so I mean, if they give us housing, I mean, we'll discuss it to go get married. We've been engaged forever. I mean, we have a 27-year-old kid together. We've been together 8 years now down here. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, getting married is like the next step. You know, the next obvious step. But he don't want to do it until we have some place to be. You know what I mean? Being out here on the streets and trying to do it is just not the.
And then Kim, I'm kind of. Running out of time. We're gonna have to just go ahead and try to do like a part 2 for this, because I honestly want to get more, you know, deep within your stories, especially with the New York Times. Like, that's something I actually want to get to, you know, talk more about. And then something that, you know, that you might want to change, especially what's going on out here in Oakland, or what's going on in the United States period with all the unhoused people, on the way how they are being treated.
They're just destroying everything we have.
I see, and
you know what I mean? They just bulldoze I mean, they bulldoze everything, you know what I mean? Like, you guys left us out here with nothing once again. Once again, now we're being forced to start all the way over with only the clothes on our back, you know what I mean? Because you guys just come in there with bulldozers and dump trucks and just like, oh well, it don't mean nothing, just take it all. Like, how would they like it if we went and did that to their house? Just one day, just go and bulldoze their house, and then what? Now you're gonna be out here with us, now what? And let's keep continuing to take everything you got, and let's keep continuing to do this to you and keep you right where we want you, homeless on the streets with nothing. Because that's what it feels like. Every time they come through and they take all of our stuff, you know what I mean? It's like, man, you're just pushing us from one spot to another because we're just going down the street, because where else are we going to go? We ain't got no car, we ain't got no transportation. Now you left us with absolutely nothing, not even a tent to sleep in. So now we're back on the sidewalk, you know what I mean? Outside in the elements, and you know what I mean? And then we're getting harassed and everything else, you know what I mean? You guys put us there. We were fine right where we were. You know what I mean? We had built our own little community, our own little home there, you know what I mean? And then you just come through and you just took it all. And left us out on the sidewalk again with nothing. I mean, time and time again, you know what I mean? It makes it so rough, so hard. I mean, to where, like, okay, so, yeah, like somebody that has a house, you know what I mean? Okay, so you're being evicted or whatever, you gotta move, okay? So, whatever reason, you know what I mean? So you move, you just move and everything's all good, but, you know, there are steps I have to take, you know what I mean? You have to come up with the money for the first and security deposit, you know what I mean? You have to pack all your things, you have to figure out how you're gonna move it. Well, how are you gonna do that if you ain't got no car? How are you gonna do that if you ain't got no job? How are you gonna, you know what I mean? How are you gonna move it when they just come in here and just bulldoze everything? You You know what I mean? And then what? Now you're out here on the street too. You know, it's just so easy for anybody from any walk of life to end up out here. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of people out here that like come for money and stuff like that, and then next thing you know, they're out here on the streets too. Yeah, my boyfriend has a friend, and he was the band Santana or whatever. His son or whatever is out here on the streets with us. You know what I mean? And he makes come on now, that guy's like a multi-millionaire probably. You know what I mean? He makes a lot of money. You know, he's a musician. You know what I mean? And his son is out here on the streets right along with us, right out here in Oakland. You know what I mean? And he ain't got nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to me. Like, you come from a good family with money and stuff like that. What are you doing out here? He's not out here because he wants to be, just because he fall on hard times, you know. And I keep trying to tell my son that that's gonna, you know what I mean, like whatever I can give you, you know what I mean, keep it, because I'm not gonna give you anything that's not gonna be worth something later on in life, because you never know when you're gonna run into that rock or that hard spot. You know what I mean? You never know when something's gonna happen. Like, you know, your house catch on fire, you get into a car accident, all of a sudden you can't work for a couple months, or just anything. You get sick or something like that, and then next thing you know, it's like boom, you lost your house. Now you and your wife and your kid are on the street. What are you gonna do? It just makes everything that much more harder. I don't know. I mean, people don't think about that you know, how it, I mean, there's steps that it leads up to us being out here on the streets homeless, probably, that we could have probably maybe stopped. But if our life is like a whirlwind right then, you know, and everything's like going haywire, you know what I mean? Then by the time you're like, next thing you know, you're out here on the streets, you're like, whoa, how did that happen? Like, where did that come from even? I mean, like in like 2 weeks, man, I like ended up out here on the streets, like in a 2-week period. Like, how could you change any of them steps? I mean, I didn't start the fire. But I lost my home and my job the same night in 2 different fires in 2 different counties. I was living in Lake County and I lost my home in the Lake County fire, the sulfur fire that burned down my house in Lake County, and my job was over in Sonoma County, and it burned down my job. 2 different fires. Same night, 2 different fires. Lost everything.
Down.
Yeah, same night. October 7th, 2017.